straight away. That's what I was hoping. I was hoping you would be here for the start of this. Alright, cool. I'm gonna get straight into this now. I was hoping Minx, I was gonna wait a few minutes and see if Minx is gonna come here. I wasn't gonna actually open it otherwise. So. Goss. Yeah, I am, law. Give me a second. But, oh my god. This is so hard to open. Why have they taped this so much? I was denied fish time, and I cry. Okay. Anyway, sorry, I've rushed this away. So guys, this is my second box opening. I'm sorry, this is just going into YouTube, and I do apologize for that. I got distracted there. But this is my second box opening. This has some of the redeems in it. It'll have some of the alphabet challenge, and it also has some games that I bought, and a mystery box on top of everything. So, just the same as always. Well, it's going to be always from now on anyway. We're going to try and do this every time. I got it close this time, but I got there in the end. But this first game is Omori. And it's a very nice case, actually. And it's sealed, which is awesome. This is one Minx actually bought for me for Christmas, and I'm extremely grateful for this game. That's why I was excited. That's why I was waiting for hopefully Minx to be in here for this one, because this is a really nice, it's a really nice case too. Like, I'm actually very impressed with it. It's got like really nice art on it. I don't want to open it yet because it's sealed. I usually do open these, but I won't open it today. But it looks really good. It's a really, really nice cover. It looks sick. Big fan. But I want to say a big thank you to Minx, obviously, for buying this one. It's very pretty. I'm excited to play this game. Like, really, really excited, because, yeah, Minx has talked very good things about it all, so it'll be cool. Can't wait for you to play it. I'm excited to play for it. Alright, where are you? Hello, Jessica. But yeah, this is a really good one, so I was hoping to open this one first. I've had this 2 days after I did my last box opening. And I've been really annoyed and been really tempted to open it. I look at it every day. Oh, they sent something else. Oh no, it's alright. It's not anything special. Oh wait, no, is it? What is this? Something like that. I'm not sure what that is. I was like, oh, they sent like apparel for this game. But I've been very tempted to like open this. Let me put chat over here actually. Sorry. They sent extras. Fangamer, good morning. How you doing today, Cheska? Hope you're doing well. Doesn't want to open up for me. I don't want to wreck it. Oh, these are these one-shot cards they've got going on. Well, that's nice. I like the design on that. People collect these, apparently. Wild Descop, Matt from them. Ooh, the Outer Wild sounds good. Oh, alright. Chat's right in front of me, looking at fucking right like an idiot. I'm excited to play it. I really am. I think also, you mentioned it, Koi, in the schedules. I think with multiplayer trophies, I might start pushing. I'm gonna say fuck. I'm gonna start doing the alphabet challenge with my own rules a little bit. I reckon I'm gonna start playing some games that are a bit longer after I'm done with Yakuza, I reckon. Some of the multiplayer stuff. Put it back in the bag. It's a collectible. It's just some other stuff here. It's just a booklet, I think. Oh, yeah. They do like a bunch of cool stuff. They got Elden Ring, Metal Gear Solid, Hades, Outer Worlds, as I think said. Oh, this middle one doesn't open. I'm not sure what's going on with that. Stardew Valley as well, if anyone's interested. They do some pretty cool Stardew stuff. I was going to buy Rikoi some of this for Christmas. I didn't end up doing it in the end. They've got a really nice mug going on there. She would have loved that. I was going to grab that and one of the plushies. She probably would have fallen out of her chair. It looks like they got vinyls going as well. Up top there. Oh no, it opens up properly. Look, they got the Shin Megami 3. Tensei 3 vinyl set. Oh my god, this is so hard to do. I don't know if you guys can really see it. It's not very showing up very nicely. Sorry, guys. They legit have really good licenses. I can't go on that side. I buy too much shit. I have only looked at it a few times because of that. But look, we got an Omori sticker, apparently. Can you please come out? I get so nervous for these streams. But this is a sticker, apparently, from Omori, this one here. So they do, like, stickers and stuff too. It's pretty cool. I like all the stuff they do. I won't place this anywhere. I'll probably keep this inside the case, if anything, I think, with both of these. And just keep them safe. I'm a bit like that sometimes. I never know what to stick stickers to either, like, you know what I mean? So, I like stickers though. I have a heap of like patches and a heap of stickers and stuff, and I just don't do any of it. I thought I saw Stardew. Yeah, they do a lot of Stardew stuff, a lot of stuff on there. I was gonna get a few things for Christmas from you for it, but it's, you know, it's hard to get sometimes. But that's the first game, yeah, Mori. So this is the O in the alphabet. This one was redeemed by Minx. Well, Koi for Minx, which was a really nice thing, and then they bought this for me for Christmas, which it's just, yeah, it meant a lot to me. I cried off stream when I remembered it. When I realized it. I woke up the next morning after drinking and realized. But yeah, it's nice. I like the art a lot. It's very cool. Very cool. Much swag. That wasn't cringe at all. I'll throw that box down there. Where'd that other game go? Oh, this one here. So this is the next game here. So I got one big package basically, and then the mystery box as well. There's not as much this time, I don't think, as the last time. I don't think, maybe. But this is another one here. This is from CEX again. This is a normal redeem. This one is, I believe. It is. It's Forspoken. This one here.
Where is it? I will not ask again, child.
You know you have a big... I can't show you that I'm looking at the cock check, but I am. I got a bit set up a bit better this time. How you doing, Rocky? This one's Forspoken. This one was redeemed by Hexa, actually. This one here. This game is quite heavily hated. I was talking to Email about this the other day. But I've spoken to a lot of people that have done the platinum for this game, and they actually say this is one of the more underrated games around at the moment. Apparently, this is actually not as bad as people claim it is. It's not what people wanted, I think, is a good way to put it. This is a really nice case, actually. It's in pretty good shape. The art is pretty much perfect. It is a bent case, and the disc isn't in. No! It is an Australian disc, though, which is quite uncommon for PS5 games these days. But it's a brand new game, I think. It is brand new. Just got some finger marks on it from whoever put it in. Nice. That's lucky. It's okay, but it's lacking in some writing. Yeah, that's what I've heard. How's being off work? Oh, look, it's got like the 2 cover too. Look at that. That's pretty sick. Hang on, shit. Let me show that. Look, it's got like the 2 types of covers. Oh, I love when they do this shit, man. So it costs the company a lot more money to do stuff like this, and they rarely do it anymore. Final Fantasy has a tendency to do it now with some of the new Final Fantasy games. If you're looking for a reason to buy like some of the games, 16 has done it, Rebirth's got it, and I think Remake also does it as well, where you can flip it in between, but see how they're different. I actually may flip this too, because I quite like the inside of this one, but I love when games do this. It honestly makes my day. I think it's cool as fuck. This is just an order form. I don't know why they sent this to me, but anyway, whatever. They don't usually send that. I missed the 15 cover for deluxe release. Oh, yeah. Just a registration card that they've got going on. Just more stuff. I'm really happy with this copy. It's like brand new. I'm very, very, very happy with this. I think it's like 40 hours. This one. But it had the boys in a hot spring. Oh, what? That's fucking sick. I want that. I need all the Final Fantasy 15 copies. I've been hunting them. Yeah. I'm really, really happy this is a Australian copy too. There's a lot of them around. Hey, Rock Protector. How you doing, fam? It's 7 days of work. B has. Damn, In the Hot Spring is fucking sick though. I need to collect all the copies. I really do. I'm starting to hunt them down slowly. It's going to take some time to do, but we'll get there eventually. We have the big package here. Usually they send like little ones, but for some reason they went all out for this shit. I'm not quite sure why they've done it this time, but anyway, what are you going to do? We're just going to get our fish knife. I need to be careful not to slice the packages. Oh, it's this weird shit again. I hate this, bro. Oh, It's triple layered. Hang on. Let me move it out of the way so you guys can't see it. Okay. So, our first copy. I have seen this. I 100%ed that. Did you enjoy it, Rock Protector? Okay. This is cooked to shit. This is Watch Dogs 1. This is not a good cover. This is fucking dinted. This might be one of the worst covers I've gotten so far from people, from CEX. But this has been battered by someone. Sometimes people really don't look after their games at all. It is also the ANZ edition. This is not normal. This is actually not supposed to come with any DLC. But it does have DLC, which is very interesting. That is strange. It is quite tinted at the moment, though, so what I'll do is I'm going to put it in a different case, but it's not too bad, you know. It's an old game now. It is like, what year is it? It's like nearly 10 years old, this game now. I think a bit over now. I forgot it's R-rated. This is one of the first R-rated games. How is the... Oh, it's got a manual, though. Yo, we take those. Holy shit, dude. This must have been like one of the last PS4 manuals. No colouring in it. Got a nice one though. Yep. That's looking good. We'll take it. And then the disc is actually looking quite nice. And the disc is pretty much brand new. It's just got some marks on it from people's like fingers and stuff. But apart from that, we're looking pretty good. I'm very, very happy with that. So hello, chat. It's looking really, really good. Send me a list of covers you need to replace Purge. Oh, I will at some point. I think I was gonna actually ask you more about that when we were talking about that last time. I'm gonna do a few of these, and then I'm gonna have. I was hoping to have a chat about you because I didn't want to do it wrong. I hate doing shit wrong, and then being like, ugh, should have just asked. I need to get better at asking people for help. I can work some magic. I know you can with those hands. What? Anyway, is that one done? Next game. I can't remember all of these, by the way. Oh, it's Injustice Among Us. Right. This, yeah, I don't know why. I bought this on a whim. I love the second game a lot. And people always talk about the first game. I've never played this. This game is ultra, ultra, ultra rare. And has some of the worst trophies. Sorry, just got a message from my boss. Oh, scared the shit out of me for a second. I thought I got in trouble. Anyway. But yeah, I've heard this is really, really good. And yeah, I don't know if this is attainable anymore, these ones on the PS3. The PS4 are. I would be interested in trying to do this, but this is really hard. But I was going to ask a few people around if they have this game, when they're willing to play it. Because the best thing about the PS3 is it's free PS Plus. You don't have to pay for online. And it's really good. But apparently this is really good, and I want to play it at some point, so I think I'll do it. Now this, I don't think it isn't. This is not the original PS3 cover. So it's been pretty damaged, and this one is damaged as well. The disc is really good. Really, really, really good, actually. I like the art on the front. That looks really sick. It's going to focus for me. It's a nice disc. It is faded a little bit on the bottom, if you can see that. Sometimes the PS3 does fade on the bottom of this. It is supposed to be a little bit darker than this, but that's okay. I'd say it may have been on the shelf for a long time. I'll keep the case, though. It's not the end of the world. I don't really care too much about the PS3 cases for now, because I don't have enough PS3 games as of just yet. But yeah, this is one that's been on the backlog for a long time. If anyone's ever interested in trying to do the PS3 trophies, I am tempted, but I would obviously have to be talked quite heavily into it because it is quite a difficult game. And it was $2. Like, why not? You know, it's a classic. And yeah. The next game, I'm not looking at these as they come out, by the way. I'm just grabbing them and bringing them out. Oh, Dishonored, right. I forgot about this. $1.50 actually, like pretty well priced. These ones actually have the prices on them. They usually don't have the prices on them, which is a bit interesting. They're usually pretty happy to remove these for me. I think this might be... Dishonored's actually famous for doing these like reflective type covers, which are always really cool. It's that bit extra. It costs a fair bit for them to do, I think a bit more, but they always look so nice. Dishonored, is a game that I've been literally hassled by my family, like my family members, my friends, to play pretty much all my life at this point. It's one of my cousin, is like one of my oldest friends, well, best friends, has been literally bagging the shit out of me for not playing this game for so long. And yeah, so I was like, screw it, I'll grab it. It's $1.50, why not? The platinum's not too bad. It's pretty hard though. I'm not very good at stuff like this. I love stealth. I'm terrible at it. Fucking atrocious at it. And I know you don't have to do stealth, but the problem is I have to do stealth for a trophy, so that's the problem. But I will probably like learn it. Damn, it's good. Yeah. Have you played Styx before, B? That new one coming out too. I've always been tempted with Styx. I know they bought that as well. The disc is quite worn. That's okay though. It is not the original case again. The disc is quite worn too. It's seen some better days, but it's seen some love, that's for sure, which is good. It'll still run. It'll be okay. I've seen some worse discs than this. You've played both games. Are they good? I bet I've never finished it. Styx. Yeah, well, the new one's coming out, and apparently it's going to be pretty good. Dude, I forgot Bethesda did this. We actually have a manual, which I'm very ecstatic about. Is it colored? It is colored. Wow. I'm going to get excited about nothing. But yes, it's pretty. It's very uncommon to have some colored manuals. It's got like all the characters and stuff in it too. That's sick. New Styx game hype. Yeah. I'm going to be watching a fair bit of it, I think. I might buy it at some point. But yeah, that's pretty good. That's actually, like, I like the manual. The manual's in pretty good shape. I definitely think this has been put in here. This is not from the original copy of this game. This game looks quite worn. I would say if someone has played a fair bit of this. It looks beautiful, though. I'm not going to lie. This is a very, very beautiful, cover art. It is not the original game, though, which is a little bit frustrating. I'm not going to lie. Same with the Watch Dogs. I actually tried to order the original game. This one is a lot rarer, of course, but as you can see, it's got the E3 award winner. If it's going to focus for me. Please. Anyway, you guys can sort of see it. Which means it's not the original copy, which is a little disappointing, but it's not the end of the world. That they haven't done another one of these is pretty much psychotic at this point, honestly. I think Deathloop they did was the latest one. Apparently that game got pretty trashed on, but is amazing. But it didn't sell too well, so not a lot of people played that. And the newest Dishonored game as well didn't perform very well, but I've also heard really good things about it, which is interesting. Again, that it got shat on so heavily. But at some point, I'll give it a go. We definitely didn't order as much games as last time. Now I'm a little bit disappointed. Yes. Yes. Deus Ex, Human Evolution. This game was redeemed by email, actually. Only $2.50 for this one, not too bad. This game is also a bit of a stealth-esque type game. We actually have to do a kill-less playthrough to get the platinum for this one. This is one of the ones that I got as a punishment for not finishing Alpha Protocol, which did kill me a little bit inside, but that's okay. We will go back to it, of course. I didn't realize Square Enix did this, by the way. That is interesting, and it actually feels like a very big Square Enix game, too. The cover is a little scuffed, but I tell you what, the art is in very good shape, which is the main point, because obviously, again, I can replace that with no problem. This is not the original case again, though. Wow, I'm having a bad day for the original cases. The reason I know is because it doesn't have the PS3 inscribed on the top of this, is how you know, by the way. Generally, most of the time. I don't know, actually, if this one would have had the original PS3, but the other two games definitely would have with Injustice and that, because the later versions always had them inscribed. The disc is in quite good shape, actually. I'm pretty happy with this one. Yeah. It's in pretty good shape. I'm actually like, it's pretty, not too bad. There's a big scratch through there, but I think it's dust. Hang on, let me try wipe it. It is just dust. That's okay. No problem. It's just dust. But yeah, with this 16 over here, I don't see this very often, so I don't know whether this has just been relocated or different region. but I wouldn't always see this. Me personally, of course, wouldn't always see the UK symbol alongside our classification as well. So I'm not sure if this was originally like a European or a UK copy and has been brought over or what, but yeah, a bit different. This also comes from a manual. Thank the heavens, this has definitely been added in as well. I generally know by the sticker in the corner. But yeah. Another nice cover. Is it coloured? It's not coloured, I don't think. Nah, it's not. So we got unlucky there with the coloured, but it looks sick. Big fan. But yeah. Nothing too crazy. And they've got Hitman Absolution on the back there for a nice trailer. That's sick. I like that a lot. I definitely think this is not an original manual, of course, as well. And there's extra missions, apparently, which is, I think, some DLC. This definitely wouldn't work anymore. I could tell you that right now. But I do love getting these. I'm not going to lie to you. I love them a lot. When does it expire? Usually tells you. Okay, it's not gonna tell me. 2011, actually, which is pretty insane for this game to come out. I did not know about that. But yeah, this one's redeemed by emails, one of the extra games. Close that knife up before I end up slicing my hand open. Keep the shark in play there. But yeah. Alright, go to the next game. This one is... I don't know what this is. What is this? Oh, Far Cry, right. Far Cry 5. So, actually, this wasn't $8. This was cheaper than this. Fair enough, though. I'll take the bargain. This is also... Is this a different version of this? Oh my god. Okay, so they've sent me the gold edition. I'm not gonna lie, I don't want the gold edition. I want the original copy of the game. So I'm a little bit disappointed in this. I know that's very, very picky, but I bought the original copy and I got this instead. It's not the end of the world, and most people tend to like to get the bigger and better versions of the games, but I do like the original copies of the games. But if this does have the DLC in it, I'll take it because it's quite expensive at times and never drops. Trust, pray, and obey. Interesting. This game was going to be redeemed by Quantum, but didn't end up redeeming it and went with Yotai instead. But it is going to be... it's going to be platinum at some point. I'm going to be doing the online with Quantum because the servers are obviously at the moment being rumored to shut down at some point in the near future, so I got to get it done. I didn't realize, is Far Cry 5 an exclusive? Oh wow, does it come with the map? Holy shit, okay. So this is... I don't know. It's 55% off. I need to actually have a look at that. Thank you for letting me know. Just got a finger mark. It's pretty much a brand new disc. I don't think this is the original game that came with this cover. Whether the disc would be different or not. Sometimes these gold editions, they tend to be. So this is actually like a day one edition as well. Check it out. It's actually got like day one content just here. Which is very, very uncommon. It's a pre-order one actually. Which is the Prepper and Chaos pack. Interesting. It's dented to all shit. I would have got Far Cry Arcade. Don't know what that is. There you go. Look, it's got the season pass. This looks untouched. This actually looks untouched. If this is untouched, I may cry. And it also comes with Far Cry 3. There's no fucking way, dude. If this comes with Far Cry 3 as well, I'm going to be extremely happy. I doubt it. I 100% doubt it, but if it does, that'll be such a steal, bro. I'm not going to lie. And then there's also the deluxe edition. The online stuff. The arcade. The digital deluxe as well. So this is the big boy. I think this might be from a statue. But these look really, really untouched. So there might be some hope for this, whether they just didn't care or not and got rid of the game. And then there's just another advertisement. Damn, there's a lot in here. This definitely, I think this was doing a deluxe edition. And then there was a small Far Cry 5 manual too, which is sick. But yeah, I think this is what they got. So they got the statue of this. I've got a funny feeling they actually got like the big deluxe as well, which you don't always get these games. There's nothing inside, of course, but that's all right. I will try and see if the season pass works after we're done. Seriously, if I get classic edition and that, I'm going to be ecstatic, and there's a very high chance I'm going to be platinuming very, very quickly. But we'll see how it goes, obviously. With everything, let's put that back in there. But very happy with that. The cover is in all right shape. Nothing too crazy. It's nothing too amazing. I will probably replace it at some point. It is definitely a special edition. I can see it. It's with some of the tags and stuff like that. It's just a little different. So I definitely came in some type of box set. But I'll try this after we're done with this box opening and have a look. The next game is... Oh, Fallout 76. Yeah, I bought this the other day. This also was on $8. I got this for like $5. So it's interesting. I got both those cheaper. This is obviously something I've been playing with Rye recently. I bought this before starting Fallout 76 because I got it for $10 the other day. But this is a really nice. I really like the case on this, and I was like looking at it, and I was like, you know what? We should just buy it, and I'm just gonna put it in the background, and then hopefully at some point someone's just gonna be like, hey man, do you want to play this game? And was hoping, yeah, someone would take me up on the offer. But yeah, very, very happy with that. It looks nice. It's a nice case, in pretty good shape. Sorry, I should be showing it a little bit better. Oh, I like the disc. This is not an original Australian disc, from what I can see. But again, because this is not always on the PS4 and the PS5, the PS4 and the PS3, I would always see these three. Generally, only the PS5. I don't know if this is with some of the later editions of games and newer versions where they've just started to do it a lot. PS5, I see it a lot. This disc is in very rough shape. Holy Lord. Thank God I got it digitally. Because this thing has literally been washed with... I don't even know what the fuck's been done on this. Someone did the toothpaste trick on this shit when they didn't need to. You do not need to clean PS4 discs, I promise you. Like, seriously. I like the three people in the background over there. It looks really nice. It reflects well with the camera there, actually. I think you can flip this around as well. But... manual as well, another one, which is pretty sick. I like that the three are walking out of it, get it, because like it's multiplayer. I love that a lot. It's beautiful. The toothpaste trick, yeah. Rage 2, nice. And Doom Eternal, wow, an ad for Doom Eternal. This game came out nowhere near Doom Eternal though. That's interesting. What an interesting manual as well. Don't see these very often anymore. The big long boys. Very good though. When can I flip the cover? When I can flip the cover. It's but it's beautiful. Very, very happy with that. The manual as well. This is a really nice copy. I'm very, very happy with this actually. This will definitely be sitting on the shelf behind me for a fair while until we get this one done. But it's beautiful. I've really, really enjoyed this game. This has actually opened my eyes a little bit to this franchise. I don't really enjoy Fallout that much and never have before. Or really seen, it's never enticed me. I think maybe the multiplayer aspect of this game really caught me a little bit. I just had a lot of fun with it. So I'm looking to play a little bit more of it, of course. Hopefully that crossplay thing comes this year. But if anyone ends up playing this game and needs to do some levels or some missions or even just wants to start it out and try it out, I'm happy to play it, honestly. It's going to be something that's going to sit there for a while. As we said, it's a stupidly long platinum. It's like 200 to 300 hours. The classic. So I got Destiny. This is... This is original copy, I'm pretty sure. Sorry, I was just checking. So basically the Vanguard, I remember this dropping, and the Vanguard was like, why did it? I actually got this day one. On Xbox 360. My mum randomly bought it one day. My mum never used to buy me games, ever. I really mean that. I probably got like one game a year at most. I'd trade my full price game in over and over and over again, trying to get smaller games, you know, and you eventually like have nothing. You get one game, you get $2 back, you buy a $2 game, back and forth over and over again. I loved Destiny so much. Destiny 1 and 2 are some of my most played games ever, funny enough. I've played Day 1 Destiny 1 and Day 1 Destiny 2, both betas and both alphas as well. I've played a shitload of this. I love Destiny. I don't play Destiny for one single reason, because I play too much of it and I get way too addicted to it. And every time I do play it, it just gets out of hand. So I don't play it anymore. But I'm a big fan of it. But I pulled myself out of there early. But I wanted an original copy of this. I do have a copy of this, and I don't know where it's gone. And my 360 copy's also gone missing as well. So I was like, fuck it. We'll get it for $2. Doom Eternal mentioned. But yeah, and it's actually a nice disc. I'm a big fan of the disc in this one. It's a good game. If anyone hasn't played Destiny before, I'm not a big fan of the free-to-play function they kind of went with. I'm not a big fan of that. Disc is good. Pretty happy with that, actually. Pretty brand new. You didn't like this game? Yeah, I not everybody did, It definitely had like some type of taste, and I think that's why I like Fallout 76. It reminds me a little bit of this, the way it's built. But yeah, it's really good. I really enjoy this a lot. Like, I really do like Destiny 1 and 2. But again, I purposely don't play it for that very reason. Because it's just not worth the time to really put into it. And then 180 awards, yeah. I'm pretty sure this is the original PS4 version of the game, because it obviously came out in the last gen first, and then it came out in PS4 later on. But yeah, I don't like the free-to-play way they went with it, because it just sort of, I don't know, it just felt different. They changed the story. The game felt very weird, and I was like, I'm dropping it. Oh, yes! Finally. Watch Dogs 2. This is in the next 2 games. I got this for $2, not $5 as well. Damn, you know what? I'm getting some bargains today. This is within the next 2 games of the Alphabet Challenge, actually. About 40 hours, I believe, this one. Email actually just beat it just yesterday. Was it yesterday? Day before. But yeah, it's apparently really, really good. I'm really excited to do it. I'm going to do some of the online ones, the online trophies. Yes, I will help you out with that, Rock Protector. If you need help with any of it, let me know. I don't think it's too bad to do the online for it, but I will be planning to do this one very, very soon. Obviously, I'll start working on it. But yeah, it's good. Oh, I like that. It's got like the Ghost Recon in it. This game apparently is really amazing too. Failed miserably, miserably in the end. It's just got some clean marks on it. This is a pretty fucking brand new disc. I'm not gonna lie, it's in very, very good shape. Very, very happy with it. Like I said, it's got a hand mark on it. You can see it down there. I don't know why people handle discs like that, but anyway, here we are. I'm not really handling it too well either, to be honest with you, but anyway. But yeah, it's good. But yeah, this one was also redeemed by Quantum as well, funny enough. So I needed to grab this as quick as I could, because he changed from Legion. Yes, so it's actually this one. The manual flipped in. It's just for writing mainly. And then we got For Honor as well. February 2017. Jesus, that long ago, hey. I played day 1 For Honor as well, actually. And the season pass is actually... Is this in here as well? Oh no, it's just telling me that it can be. I need to get this as well. But yeah. And then just the PlayStation Plus as well. A lot of these games used to come for with 3-day PS Plus passes, and my mate used to save them up for certain games and stuff, and then redeem 30 of them, and then all of a sudden, and then ask his mates if he could have them, and he used to have so many of them. So when a game dropped a new COD or something and he wanted to play online, he's used all of them in a row and stacked the crap out of them. It was pretty smart. Let's be real. I think that is it, though. I didn't really order too much for myself this time. I was trying to behave a little bit. There was a lot of games I really, really wanted, and there's a lot of games I really, really need. But obviously, if anyone hasn't obviously seen, I would say with the April box opening, there's going to be a shitload. I'm planning to do a 24-hour stream in April, actually, at this point. And I think we're going to do a stupidly big box opening for it. Just open a stupid amount of things on it. And I was going to just, ask for, whether the chat wants me to grab some random stuff and ask for suggestions, what they would like to see. Anything ridiculous or crazy. Just checking for my name's on it. It's not. This is the mystery box. Incredible stuff. Apologies. I'm not yeah. Just the mystery box. This, by the way, is just the person who sent it, so no stress about that one. shout out to this guy. It's the exact same person as last time. So we're just going to open it straight away. Again, I'm going to move it to the side again, and I'm not going to look as I pull them out. Last time, we got an Xbox game, a Wii game, a DS game, a PS4 game, a Atari game, and something else. I can't remember the last one. But yeah. But this was I got it here, but this was the coolest thing we got last time. It's an Atari game. Very, very old boxing. I had this one sitting up on my bookshelf recently, but this was the coolest thing we got last time. So let's hope for something good. Hey? This was also $60 and will be valued at more than that. And I'm guaranteed at least 4 games. And it will be worth more than the 60. We will check at the end. But last time, I think we got $30 more than the value. So I'm very, very happy about that. But let's open it up and have a look. Okay, I've got something weird, I think, straight away. What is this? Okay. Game inside. What the fuck is this? Now, he's not supposed to give us anything loose. He promised no loose games, so I'm going to be interested to see what this is. And I don't even know how to fucking open it. Here we go. Let's have a look. Sorry. Oh my god, this is so fucking on. I know I should just do the knife, but I don't even know what's in it. That's the problem. Oh my god, okay. So he did promise, like I said, these would be all boxed. So I don't know what this is. This is a DS game. But, like I said, I'm not sure why he's giving me a loose one. But it is, I don't know if it's going to focus on it. It's called Biker Mice. What the fuck is this? I've never even heard of this game before. Biker Mice. Hang on, let me have a look. Real quick. Oh, it's like that. It's that old show from like the fucking like the 90s. The game in its case is worth $120. That's why it's not in its case, I'm guessing. But with just the cartridge, I think this is actually worth a little bit of money. I'm not gonna lie to you. It's worth $30 by itself, I think. Oh, no, I found a $30 copy of it. With a cover. I don't know. It's not too much then. I'm not sure. Big DC game. But that's yeah, I don't know why he didn't bring a cover with this one. If I have a heap of loose games here, I'm going to be a little bit disappointed because that's not what I want. And he might have got his packages wrong, maybe. He does offer a one with loose games. Okay, this is definitely not loose. This is heavy as fuck as well. What is this? This is an original copy of Red Dead Redemption, actually, which is pretty insane. I don't think I've ever seen an original copy of this game. How do I put this? I don't like Red Dead. This is interesting. And I should do the online trophies for this game. I should ask more about this now, since I do have it, because I feel like it's going to be redeemed at some point. I don't like Red Dead. This is an original copy of the fucking game. Look, it's got the full price on it, the $99 at Kmart. This is pretty insane. It still has the security tag it's left on it. I used to fucking hate these things. This is pretty crazy. I haven't actually seen this original like this for a very long time. It's got the map in it as well. The disc is a little worn. And it is spick and spam. I think it's been fixed up a little bit. They can, I think, polish these and fix them up a little bit so they end up working. So that is interesting. This is... I don't know how I feel about this. It's awesome. I mean, look at the manual. It's got the map as well. Is it colored? It is colored. Wow. Wow, this is actually a nice copy of Red Dead. I'm not gonna lie. I feel obliged to do some of these platinums as well, and I think this might be one of them. How am I going to do this, though? I'm going to need to talk someone into doing the online multiplayer with me. Wow, there's a lot of content in here. Holy shit. Don't they got entire credits? Interesting. This is a really nice copy. This is not what I expected. And then look at it, it's got the map as well. Holy shit, it's got like a post. It's got one of the posters actually. It's got Old Mate on it. I don't even know who this is. Again, I'm not a big fan of Red Dead, but I won't open it all up because it's huge. But wow, I wasn't expecting this at all, actually. This is, yeah, pretty incredible. This guy does some good work. I'm going to be real. Fucking hell. A complete copy of Red Dead, which is, yeah, I don't think I've ever seen an original copy of this before. Again, it usually has the Game of the Year nominee, some type of award, or the Undead Nightmare everywhere. That's always what I see. So this is very uncommon. I don't see this ever. I'll just put this over here for now. Okay, what's this one? Oh my fucking god, dude. Jesus, dude. Stuart Little 3, a photo adventure. This is peak PS2, bro. Holy fucking shit. This game would be so hard for no reason. I can feel it. I can feel it. I can absolutely feel it. This game would be so fucking hard to play. The craziest part is Stuart Little 3 doesn't look like this. It's all animated, which is the weirdest part. He looks nothing like this. He's like all animated. So, and it's literally got Stuart Little 1's like front cover on it. No, this is 2 actually. Stuart Little 2. This is so weird. It's got a fucking manual. It's got the memory card. This is such a weird one. Store all Stuart's photos on this mouse-sized memory card. A photo adventure, guys. So we take photos. It's not colored, the manual. This is why I buy these, though, this mystery box, because this is so fucking random, dude. Who the fuck owns this? I've never seen this before in my life. That's so interesting. It looks so cursed as well. Let's be real. If you liked this as a kid, fair enough. I respect it. I think the price on this was around the 60 mark as well, from what I can see. The case has seen some better days, but that's okay. It's a PS2 game. You know, I'm not going to expect the world from them. I don't know how I feel about that. That's so hilarious, dude. That's so hilarious. All right, we got the next one, which is... Oh, okay. Oh, I would have loved this on the PS3. Oh, this is sick, actually. Dragon's Dogma, Dark Ariser. That's actually sick. Wow. I wasn't expecting this. This is actually a game I actually wouldn't mind playing as well. Hang on, is there voting going on for Rye? Sorry. God, for there's a whole thing going on. This game apparently is really good. I was talking to Spicy about this the other day. Apparently this is really, really fun to do. I want to play the first game of it. And apparently the theme music is amazing. The second game is pretty hated on, but apparently is quite good too. This is... What the actual fuck just happened? Oh my god, it's got an install disc. Oh my god, check out what this person's done. This is obliterated. These are obliterated, dude. The Xbox 360 discs were some of the worst quality discs ever. They used to get destroyed, bro. Now, I'm hoping this line around the outside is a design. I'm going to go ahead and guess it's not. Maybe. Sometimes they did have this, but majority of the time, it wasn't. It wasn't. Hopefully they didn't destroy it. It's a big game, for real. I need to figure out how I'm going to do this, because I don't want to fucking... Well, with the install disc, you don't need to worry about how many scratches there are on. But this is literally the craziest part. This is designed, look, to have the disc on top of each other. Who the fuck came up with this? That is a terrible idea. I'm going to be completely honest right now. This is a proper... this is an actual Xbox case. It's been designed to have the disc on top of each other. This is how they get destroyed. This is how Xbox used to do it back in the day. No, I swear they had, like, the double. I don't know how I feel about that. This is cool, though. Just a simple manual. I don't think there's anything in there. There's not. This is cool, though. I'm actually very ecstatic about this. What year did it come out, by the way? $2012. Wow. They did both. Okay. This is cool, though. Look at the front of this. I'm actually a big fan of this. I love the 360. I'm not going to lie. The console was beautiful, but there was so many issues with this fucking system. Like, the systems would die, and the discs would crack, and then they would scratch very easily. If you knocked the Xbox, it would destroy the game. The controllers wouldn't work all the time. It was a lot cheaper than the PS3, but my lord, so many problems with the Xbox 360. Well, I personally had so many, and especially from my region. I went through like 3 of the fuckers, and I didn't even have that long. PC case is 5 discs. Wow, 5 discs. All right, we have 2 games left. We've got 3 so far. 4, actually. What the fuck is this? What the fuck is this? The Jam and Earl 3, Mission to Earth. What the fuck is this? This is another curse game. What is this, dude? This is so... Thank you for the 30 stream streak there, Cheska. What the fuck is this game, dude? The disc is fucked. I don't have an Xbox anyway. This has definitely had the toothpaste method on it. Look at it. Holy lord. But the disc is textured, which is insane. Like, it's textured on the front of it like it's a vinyl. I love the Xbox, though. Look at that. Look how beautiful that is. That is just awesome. It looks like a Bugs Life ripoff. It's the 3rd game, which is insane. So I don't even know. This manual is thick as fuck, though. Slap that on the table, bro. Holy shit. Look at that thing. Look at that. This thing's a book, bro. This is such a weird... This is so weird. I don't even know how I feel about this one. This is such a random-ass game. Never even heard of it before. I don't even know how to feel about this one. The gameplay... Hang on. Earth, a planet in desperate need of funkification. Your mission: explore the sprawling environments, master the art of funk fu fighting, collect gift-wrapped power-ups, defeat a dreaded anti-funk, and generally get down with your bad self in an off-the-wall adventure unlike anything you've experienced before. Feel the funk, baby. It's 2-player as well. 2002. And this is the 3rd game. And it's an Xbox exclusive as well. The game looks okay. I was 11. I was 2 at the time of this release. It looks okay, actually. I might give this a go if I ever get my hands on an Xbox. So we've got a PS3, a PS2, an Xbox 360, and an Xbox game. I think we have a Nintendo game here. We have the DS. I reckon we have one more Nintendo game. That's what I'm going to go ahead and guess. I would love a PS4 or a PS5 game. I would love one of those two. We're not going to get it, though. And the final game is... Wii Sports. I think I have 3 copies of this. God damn it. What a classic, though. I mean, you can't go wrong, can you? What a fucking game, dude. This game, actually, funny enough, was worth a fair bit of money a few years ago. And is like... It got really expensive. This disc has literally gone through hell on Earth, though. Look at that shit. Thank you for the Roblox 5 biddies there. This thing has gone through hell. Whatever cursed children or person put this disc through life like this need to go to jail. This is actually insanely worn. Holy crap. But, you know, Wii Sports is incredible. Yeah, but this game was so expensive in Australia a few years ago. I don't know whether all the hoarders just ended up buying them all or what the fuck happened, but these got so expensive just out of nowhere. But yeah. It's colored. It's cool. Is this day one? This copy? I don't know if it is day one, this copy or not. It does look like it came with a Wii for sure, but I don't think it did. I don't think it's day one. You know what? Actually, I think this might be a day one game. There's hundreds of thousands of these, but it does have the 0607 and individual, so it did come with the console. So this is this one, which they shouldn't be able to sell this, I don't think. But anyway, here we are. You know what? I like Wii Sports. Why not? I don't know what else to really say about it. I love Wii Sports, but as I said, I have 2 copies of it already. I think my dad has 2 copies as well. So it's nothing incredible or crazy. I was hoping for something a little bit different. But there seems to be definitely a trend. So an Xbox, a Wii Sports, a 360 game, PS2, a PS3, and a DS game. So there seems to definitely be some type of common trend with these. Nothing insanely too old. I like there's not much of a trend. There's some different games in here for sure. I would definitely say that Red Dead OG is probably the most valuable in this. Dragon's Dogma would be probably second. Stuart Little would have no value, I don't think. Wii Sports would have no value, and I doubt this would. So I'd say the money would definitely be in these 2 games alone. Maybe they're worth $20 to $30 each. I'm not quite sure. But yeah, here we are. It was random. I really like these because it's so stupid, but it's so interesting. I don't know if I'll play this game on the 360. It's a big leap for me to do it, honestly, from the PS3. This makes me want to do this because I own the game now. I'm not going to lie to you. I want to play this game now. And I don't like Red Dead. That's the best thing I can say. But I wouldn't mind doing the multiplayer trophies before it disappears forever. So I might look into this properly. Stuart Little's silly. I used to love Stuart Little when I was younger. Oh, you actually need the iToy for this. I forgot about this. Wii Sports, again, already have. If I ever got an Xbox, I would play that. And I don't even fucking know about, Biker Mice. I remember this being an old school TV show that I'll probably eventually play. I don't know why this came out of its cover, though, which is a strange one. These should come in a cover at all times, so I'm not quite sure why they've done that. But those are the mystery box ones there. Very interesting collection. Now, just to go over quickly all of the games again that I got here, we have Watch Dogs 2, which has been redeemed for the Alphabet Challenge. Destiny 2, because it's an old school game, so it's my bought one that I selected. Fallout 76, I bought this instead of a PS5 game for myself because I wanted to play it. Far Cry 5 again to do the multiplayer trophies. It hasn't been redeemed by Quantum yet, but it will. Deus Ex, which was a redeemed game by email as a punishment. I've got Dishonored, which is a PS3 game I've been wanting to play for a long time, along with Injustice, which was also there, which was cheap. I wanted to play this and have it on hands next time someone wants to do the trophies or just want to play when they're over at my house, maybe. We have Watch Dogs as well, number 1, which I'll be doing the online trophies for that. Forspoken, which is a redeemed game by Hex on the PS5. And finally,